My friends, in the event that you are new to this wonderful card game and you have not yet signed up for a UGN Play account, you can now sign up with my exclusive referral code Alliteration and get yourself 50 bonus loyalty points for free, as well as additional loyalty points for every event that you play in within my referral code period. Why do you need these, you might ask? Well, loyalty points can be used to redeem free promotional cards in the mail, as well as other exclusive items coming in the future. The bonus points from using my code are enough to redeem almost any promo card right off the bat, and having your UGN account is going to allow you to accrue and track more and more as you go through your hero or villain's journey. If free cards and progression all sound super appealing to you, the links for all of this are going to be in the description below. Now, let's get on to the video. Welcome, my dear viewers, to another Alliteration Gaming video. I'm your host, Levi, and of course, it's Wednesday, so it's time for us to perform some aspirations of the wealthy variety. Yes, every single Wednesday, it is our usual Market Watch series where we go set by set, rarity by rarity, and just check out the whole secondary market and just kind of see what's going on. Interesting dips, interesting raises, interesting buyouts, and just anything like that that's going to pique our interest. So starting off with set 3, our secret rares are looking pretty as usual, both sitting very comfortably under $10. Very niche cards, don't see that changing anytime soon. Our URs are about the same as always too. These three up here are kind of sitting pretty at a very reasonable price, and then everything after that is kind of just $1 or $2 at most, and is really just sitting in the mediocrity bin, which is weird because a lot of these are really good ultra rares. There was still a lot of set 3 open, to be honest, in the market's just kind of a little oversaturated at this point. The only one really that's not like overflowing here is like Stun Grenade. 4 listings is pretty low for this, but even if this gets bought out all the way, I don't really see it coming back with any kind of a vengeance. There's just so much of the set on the market. Then for the XRs, nothing too crazy. Our front page is looking pretty much as usual here. This is a good price for Ignited. This is a good price for Prone. We got some pretty expensive and then some pretty cheap characters. This is a good price for Total Erasure. Quick to Act, this is still a good price for Quick to Act, even with only a couple listings left. Only one listing for Prominence Burn. Some Nebulisms working their way up, as well as Blood Moons a little bit too. Freezer Burn looks like it got completely bought out and is now just at crazy prices. Same thing for Stun Grenade. I don't know if either of these two will settle at anything close to 12 bucks. I think those are really good prices for those, and we are now in the new era of Freezer Burn and Stun Grenades. Looking into One with Nature. One with Nature has come all the way back down from a pretty harsh buyout a couple weeks ago. And then we've got some really cheap starter deck XRs with the Clock Precision and the Whiplash and the Conflagration. I think these are pretty good prices for these. These have also seen a couple crazy buyouts, so even if it might seem like a bit of a wild price, it could come back at a lot worse. Ice Slide Tackle also coming back at really cheap. And then Hellflame Stomp is really expensive randomly. Same for Soul Piercing Glare. These kind of got some crazy buyout syndrome, so they're still kind of settling from that whole era. 2 listings of Easily Excited, $7 is a great price for this. 2 listings for Press Conference, $10 is still a pretty good price for this. It's not $4. If you got these at 4, primo on you, man. But this is still not a bad price for them. People are really starting to come onto this card. Exhausted Exclamation sees a little less play as far as a variety of decks goes, but it is very good in the decks that it sees play in. And then from there on out, everything kind of is just a couple bucks. The basic trainings are still very bought out, of course. If you got these when they were $3, $4, $5, like we talked about for weeks on this channel, kudos to you. You did your homework, you watched the Healthy Aspirations, and you got the good deal. If you're here now and you haven't, well, hopefully you can catch some of the next ones as you continue to watch the series. Scorching Auras are gone. That's also kind of interesting. Fastest Flame is also randomly very expensive. This one will probably settle pretty hardcore. Again, these starter deck XRs are a lot rarer than the normal XRs, so sometimes they kind of just see some random buyouts, and I think it's just a matter of like panic setting in. Coping with number 1 is a similar thing. Everything else though is kind of just tech pieces, right? Like we got solid cards here and there. These are not awful cards. They see occasional play here and there, but for the most part, they're tech enough to never really push past $1 or $2. Again, except for our starter deck XRs. This card doesn't even see like any. I've like never seen someone put a Hellflame Pounce into their deck, but somehow the card is still $14. Wild. Stare Down, I've seen like 2 people put Stare Down into their deck because Evil doesn't have low blocks. But aside from that, this is your tech piece $1 or $2 bin. pretty much from here on out. Successful results at $6 is pretty interesting. That one's trying to find its way back up from its buyout. Conflict of Ideologies is $12. That's also very interesting. Unnerving Energy, out of stock. Yeah, again, these aren't really cards that go into people's decks, but starter deck XRs just kind of have a habit of selling out randomly every now and then. And it's only really relevant if they're a super playable one. Going into the promos, our Buy a Box girls are still ridiculous. Our Buy a Box boys are very reasonable. Our seasons are nice and bountiful. Our chivalrouses are still nuts. And then we have a couple nice pieces with the petty squabbles and the funny punches here, the promo punches. Everything after that is pretty much as it seems, just $1 or $2, or fetching a couple bucks if it's a reasonably playable card. Moving into set 2, our secret rares, super duper cheap. This isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Our ultra rares, we have our 3 very reasonable ones here. Excited, still holding, it's $20, very strong. And then everything else is just $1 or $2. Same situation as set 3, really. I mean, these cards are a little worse than set 3's ultra rare selection, but it's still just a matter of oversaturation. Going into our XRs, Excited's holding strong. Our XSR looking reasonable here. We got a couple solid characters. Double Jabs and Howitzers are solid as always. High values are nice too. A lot of really respectable prices here. If you're looking to pick any of these up, I think a lot of these are pretty set in their ways. Some of the cheaper characters as well, Endeavor and Mineta. Ice Gliding is still a really good pickup at $4. Super stable card till the end of time. Same with Struggling, this is amazing pickup at $5. Same for Surviving the Finals. Our nice little, I don't want to say tech pieces. These are honestly pretty stable cards across their symbols. It's very rare that you see cards like that omitted, so I think they are still solid pickups in the world of set 2's XRs. Now, even just 2 pages in, we're really in the tech piece department now. Everything is just super duper crazy cheap now. A lot of these cards just don't see like a truly massive widespread play. Again, they really are just like tech pieces for the most part, or just there to round out block zones and things like that. They're not cards that people are scrambling to put in their decks, and so they're never really going to get anywhere crazy price wise, especially with how many of them are on the market. But there's just so many on the market of all of these. Going into set 2's promos, our RLEs are still looking pretty dry, man. These are slowly going the way of the dodo. Eraser's got a little bit more life injected in them, but Starlets and Texases are still really low on the quantity department. Same for Cheerleaders and Manleys. These are really good prices for Manleys too, man. $14 on Manleys is really good. $13 on Student of the Arts also really good. The thing that always kept this card down in the past was it gets played in one deck. That one deck is now probably the best deck in the format, so got to keep an eye on these Student of the Arts here. Dark Shadows are pretty expensive too. People are selling their Tokoyami decks post ban list, even though he's still amazing. He's just not the super duper hotness anymore. Provisional promos are still cheap as ever, man. Waylays for $5. Ooh, Waylays for $5 is so nice to see. Grasping Tape Toss has really seen a resurgence, man. I remember when these were like $2 for like ever. These are like $2 for a very long time. Sugar Rush up to $6 is pretty nice to see. Our Blood Curdles are cheap. A lot of really cheap promos. Our Nats promos, Nationals promos are so cheap, man. Oh my god, those things are like freaking pennies, bro. Moving into set 1, our secret rares are real nice, bro. Secret rares 30 and 20. This is what secret rares should look like, man. I'm really hoping that set 4 turns the tide of things secret rare wise. I'm really tired of the like $5-6 secret rares that we've had since. I want them to be like not necessarily like hardcore staples, but just make them strong, solid, very playable cards from here on out. Set 1's ultra rares, always juicy as ever. Got like a couple more bangers at least before they move into like the $1 or $2 bin. Frigid Heatwave for 23 is interesting. Is that just the one listing? No, actually, we've got like a solid few of them here for like 23, 24-ish. Then they start to find their way back into the 30s, but still not a bad price if you're still looking to pick up like a heat wave or two. And then everything else is extremely reasonable across the board. Going into our XRs for set 1, Jabs at 25, man. Jab is always that one in contention, man. Having dodged the ban list, I think these prices are pretty much here to stay now. These are still not terrible prices though. $30 is like the utmost I would pay for a Jab. I probably wouldn't even pay that, to be honest, but if you really want them, these are probably what they are. Destins are cooling all the way down, which is really weird because like I don't know, the buyout was pretty warranted. This card's like so staple, and the buy a box one is super expensive. But I guess if you're gonna spend like 40 on an XR, you'd probably just spend 70 on a buy a box, or you'd spend a lot less on an XR, which might be what we're seeing. The XR Frigid Heat Waves are beautiful. 30 bucks. The Ice Storms are climbing their way back up there too. Some of Dark Shadows are still at a pretty fair price, all things considered. A couple of bangers here and there. Requestings are finding their way back up. Arrogance are really cheap. This Arrogant and Latent Skill were buyouts that I think definitely didn't have any staying power. Those were absolutely coming back at a very chill price. Erase XR, I feel like that one's been really cheap for a long time. Is this like a resurgence? Yeah, absolutely. $9, $8, $6, $9. With some oddities here and there, but man, these got really expensive again out of nowhere. That's pretty interesting actually. It can't be fixed. 15 is a good price for those. They used to be a lot more. Trust me, it's a good price. Passing the torch is 17 is also not bad on these. These were a little bit cheaper the last couple weeks. If you picked them up in that window, very good stuff on you. Self-sacrifices, $8 is also pretty cheap for. You got to keep an eye on those. Hardened Chop is also, this is a good price for Chop as well. Setup Strike and Future Charges. The starter deck XR attacks holding pretty strong value just because they A, look so good, and B, are just a little bit harder to get. XR long lastings are $3. That is crazy, man. That's actually wild, dude. I mean, still, the RLE is definitely a lot more expensive, so these are not a bad alternative. They do look very good. They do look very good. Tight Lips are finding their way back up, man. You gotta get those Tight Lips while they're cheap, bro. They don't like to stay cheap for long. They truly do not like to stay cheap for very long. Tapes back up to $9. I got a couple of these at like $4 the other week, man. It was also a very good deal that we covered here on the channel. Callings are a little expensive. I mean, they had their buyout a long time ago, but I don't really attribute any weight towards that. That was just like a freak thing. This is not a card that people are like clamoring for. I think $9 is a really good price on CaptureNet. CaptureNet feels like one of those ones that CaptureNet and Extend both feel like those ones that are like just kind of like waiting for a buyout to happen to get really expensive. Maybe less Extend because it has the RLE one, but I know a lot of people prefer the normal one of the RLE one. I don't know. I like Ida's helmet, man. Ida's helmet is sick. I like Ida's helmet. Same thing for like Sero. I like their helmets, man. I don't like the arts where their helmets are off instead. I just don't enjoy them as much. Nothing else really crazy happening here. Just a lot of really choice like $10 XRs here and there. This is super cheap for Apathetics. Gotchas are $10. I think that's what they were last week, and it looks like that might be a price that's here to stay. And then really now we're in the tech piece bin, except for release. This is like the most staple of staples, and it's still $3. I complain about this every week. Why is XR release $3, man? That's freaking crazy. Everything else from here on out is all like tech piece central. Samoan style is $7. That's kind of interesting there. That's a little bit peculiar. I don't think we got any more peculiarity left throughout set 1's XRs though. Really, there's still like a lot of really good deals in here. This is just kind of the back half of the set that's much more tech piece material, so you're not going to see these prices. Ooh, except for $10 Desperate Times. $10 Desperate Times, that's wild. That's a really weird one. I don't think that'll really hold at all. But man, super interesting one. I mean, the quantities on these are like a little less severe than something like set 2 or even set 3s. So they're like a little more prone to being randomly bought out at certain times. But they're also not ones that I think will like super hold. I think a lot of people just have a lot of set 1 either on the market or off the market that it's pretty easy to move. And then, of course, our set 1 promos, our RLEs are massively crazy, as they always are. I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Our provisionals here are starting to calm down a little. $10 Kurogiri, $10 Sato. Midnight still pretty pricey, which makes sense. I wonder, so like if you've been paying attention to the news, we're going to be getting a lot of the retired promos on the prize wall, right? The prize wall for the HLC points when you play in the side events that you can redeem for the promos that technically don't exist anymore. So I wonder if that's going to affect the RLE prices so much. These season 1 RLEs, these are crazy because like there just aren't any more on the market, right? Like there more of them will never exist, but now more of them might exist if these are some of the ones that they bring onto the prize wall. So I'm interested to see if anything from the HLC prize wall affects the secondary market after we get through with that event as a whole. And there you have it, guys. Overall, another pretty chill week in the market. Not necessarily as cold as last week, but it's still not a lot lot to talk about in the grand scheme of things. We had a couple of things get bought out. I think Freezer Burn and Stun Grenade are some really notable ones, but honestly, we've been talking about those coming for quite a while now, so them finally meeting Destiny and getting to those buyout prices is really not super surprising. And then a couple things really settling. Some of our starter deck XR is still kind of going crazy, but for the most part, they're all back into the good deal territory. And then across set 1, I think we saw a lot of those XRs finally starting to see a bit of their value, and you got to keep an eye on it because I think that some of the others behind them are sure to follow. Thanks for making it all the way to the end of this video though. I truly greatly appreciate it, and if you'd like to leave me some feedback either in the comment section or via the like/dislike buttons, I'd also super appreciate that. And if you absolutely enjoyed what you see, hit the subscribe button and it's going to let me put all of my MHA CCG content into your newsfeed. We're talking 6 uploads a week nearly every single day, ranging from our Market Watch series like this every single Wednesday, on top of gameplay videos, deck profiles, meta discussions, tier lists, and really anything that I feel like making that pertains to the My Hero Academia collectible card game. So if any of that sounds appealing, I'd like to have you along for the journey. That's all the time I've got for today though. Thanks again for watching, and I hope I'll see you around in the next one.